Now, here is part 2. We bring you the Betfred Super League Round 14 and Challenge Cup Final debrief. Before we move on to the postponed and rearranged fixtures, we'll start off with games that actually did go ahead this weekend. We start off at Bellevue at the Mobile Rocket Stadium. Wakefield, competitive, but it eventually went down to St Helens, 30 points to 14.
Yeah, Wakefield started off, not started off, they were kind of there or thereabouts at the start of the game and then just faded off. All St Helens were just too good.
It was competitive at half time. I was surprised when I first heard that Wakefield were only trailing by a singular try heading into half time.
That was a very, very big surprise there, and I thought, oh, here we go, but no.
And then those score updates, especially when Inner bagged that second try, absolute diving towards the corner. That was spectacular, that try score.
His first one was a good setup work from a long pass. It could have easily been intercepted, but
it definitely could have been intercepted.
But he bagged a double. You could say in close proximity to each other.
Yeah, and especially because they had that one-man overlap for the second try, because I believe, even though we did not see it in the highlights, Sione Matautier might have been the one that was yellow-carded, because he got a one-match ban over his head, so I'm assuming he was yellow-carded on that.
Yeah.
And will miss the Challenge Cup final. We'll get more onto that shortly, but overall, the St. Helens left edge, it's a beast of a side, isn't it?
It definitely is. That's been going on all year. And Lachlan Coote, his try,
brilliant!
It's just straight through.
It's just brilliant work off the back of Sione Matautier, who we were just talking about. You could have mistaken him for Johnny Lomax, to be honest, considering they both got the same coloured headgear.
Yeah, it could have easily been mistaken, but numbers on the jerseys are helpful when it comes to that sort of situation.
And squad numbers, yes, it definitely is. Look, I think Saints didn't expect a fight from Wakefield early on, but I think once they settled down, they reassessed what was going on, got 13 men back on the park, they just clicked back into it, and Wakefield couldn't throw anything at them after early in the second half. The back half an hour, they just had nothing to offer.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And Makinson's try was footwork and a fan to score. It was unbelievable work. And who was your standout player?
Oh, I can't go past Lachlan Coote again. I think this is probably twice in the last 3 weeks I've actually nominated Lachlan Coote as my standout player. But, I mean, one try assist, and of course, 7 from 7 goals converted. Goals are very important towards points percentage.
Yes.
To keep Saints close with the Catalan Dragons and enough to stay above the Warrington Wolves, who are still lingering about.
Yeah, they're thereabouts, but any points you can grab at the moment is you take it, and it could make the difference come the end. It could come to be the difference come the end of the season.
Oh, massive difference, especially with the fight for the top 2, never mind the top 6.
Yeah, very much so.
Meanwhile, our main focus was over at Emerald Headingley Stadium on the other side of West Yorkshire, where the Catalan Dragons managed to pull off an escape at 26 points to 18, but they had a frightful first half.
Yeah, the Leeds were in front by 10 at the break, being 18-8, so Leeds were well and truly in the contest and could have upset them.
I wonder what was going through the minds of the Catalan Dragons, because Artur Morg is in for Josh Drinkwater, playing at scrum half, and he's expected to guide this Catalan Dragons side around without Drinkwater there. I mean, he does pretty well to score the first try of the game, but then 3 tries are run in by the Leeds Rhinos in quick succession.
Yeah, that was put a little bit of dent in their confidence, Catalan Dragons, but they would have gone into the sheds thinking, right, we can still come back and do this. The game's not over. We're only down by 10. It's still doable, and anything could have happened, and it certainly did.
Well, not only did anything could happen, everything did happen. And guess who was right in the thick of it?
James Maloney.
Yes, it was James Maloney in the thick of it. Practically most scuffles in the first half were either Maloney direct or Maloney influenced.
Well, it helped too, because he got a 40-20 and he broke through the line and he had a support play in McMeekin who crossed.
And 2 try assists.
Yeah.
Just that James Maloney basically carried Catalan from 18-8 down to be up 26-18 by full time and still to be on top of the table.
Well, Leeds will be scratching their heads and thinking, well, head on, we're leading by 10, but we conceded
3 tries and a
three
penalty goal
tries.
in 40 minutes.
They're thinking, well, hang on a second, what's happened here? We were on top in the first half, and then we went downhill in the second. So
The game plan that Leeds went into, it was similar to how Warrington went into St Helens, and where they tried to, physically dominate through the middle of the field. And I tell you what, Tom Holroyd and Mikolaj Oledzki were pretty much throwing themselves into the Catalan defensive line.
They were. That's what you do. You got to throw your body on the line to try and help your team keep a lead or extend the lead either way. And this one was by extending the lead for the Dragons overall.
Yeah, but they just didn't match it. And once Catalan started getting ascendancy back through the middle of the field, and then you got Maloney, you get Sam Tompkins, and chiming in off the back of it, the Catalan Dragons just absolutely overran Leeds in the second half.
That's what all good teams do. You might be down at half time, but they always come back through in the second.
Not to mention, it's going to be a funny feeling because they got to meet again, and we'll get more into this, but they got to play again, but this time it's in the south of France.
Wow.
And something that also will happen again, the Wigan Warriors and the Huddersfield Giants will meet again, but for now, Wigan maintain the bragging rights with a 16-12 win over the Giants.
A very, very narrow victory for the Wigan Warriors. Both teams haven't been quite on form as of late.
Well,
more so Huddersfield.
Wigan have been sliding for the last month and a bit with the 5 straight losses they suffered.
Yeah. But a streak of losses end up in a win, and this is what exactly happened with Wigan. There was Huddersfield, they're in the all match, only down by 6 at half time, and then now losing by 4.
Defence was definitely strong for the Huddersfield Giants early because they were able to repel Wigan. I believe both with Liam Marshall and Oliver Gildart, they were able to keep them both out from scoring.
Yeah, Oliver Gildart and Liam Marshall came so close to scoring on numerous occasions, but somehow the defence held them up. To try and hold Marshall and Gildart up is pretty a good achievement because they're both try-scoring machines.
And not to mention the fact, no Aiden Caesar and no Lee Gaskell. That would have been a big confidence booster for the Giants. Looking back at their lineup, this was pretty much an undermanned and lineup with Ollie Ashelbot brought in from London, I think, of last memory, but no Caesar, no Gaskell, and of course they did have Nathan Peets having joined on loan from the Lee Centurions. But other than the first efforts with Chris McQueen, in with some good work close to the line, and then pinpoint accuracy from the halves, I believe maybe Sam Wood or Oliver Russell to set up for Leroy Cudjoe, Huddersfield couldn't throw anything else at this Wigan Warriors side.
No, they couldn't at all. The Sergio's try, he kicked that crossfield on the angle, and it was a magnificent try, I believe. I reckon it was one of the best of the match. But even Harry Smith, who kicked it through, and then I believe it was Marshall who just tapped it a little bit further, and he managed to get the ball down. So, yeah, no, that was a magnificent try there. But overall, it was a very good, very entertaining clash.
I think the Wigan Warriors will now be happy that they've broken this 5-game losing run. And Liam Farrell put in another outstanding performance. 134 running meters, 1 try assist, 3 tackle breaks, and 2 offloads.
He's having a blinder of a season, Liam Farrell. He's been in literally pretty much every single play possible that he has been in.
And the fact that he's been asked at some stages, with the loss of outside backs, to play centre and then to still perform at a high standard in the second row, it's just remarkable.
He is, and you need players like that in your team to fill gaps here, there, everywhere, just like of injuries and that. Just ask Connor Tracy in the Sharks. But still, he's like the Connor Tracy at the Sharks.
A little bit, but
to an extent.
To an extent, but not exactly the same. We're talking 2 different players at different stages of their careers.
Oh yeah, I know that.
I mean, you look at Farrell; he's I think a 100+ game veteran, and Connor Tracy's only now beginning to nail down a starting role at the Sharks.
But it's kind of on the same thing.
Now, I'm just going to bring it back, as I did mention the Sharks. Last week, I had a swipe at Buzz Rothfield from the Daily Telegraph. Nothing personal against him, but I decried his reporting about Anthony Seibold being linked to the Leeds Rhinos and Richard Agar to the Sharks as nothing more than the Australian media pushing fake news about Super League. Do I still think the end result will stay the same? Yes, but I got to give this to Buzz, and I double-checked this myself earlier today. He might have a factor or a link, well, I think more of a lead, that might suggest potentially Richard Agar not staying at Headley beyond this season. Now, he mentioned in his Monday column on the Daily Telegraph that his manager was talking to the Cronulla Sharks to link up with Craig Fitzgibbon as head coach. Richard Agar is managed by Titan Sports Management. At least this is what I understand to this point. Now we know the fact that a player agent can play a la carte George Williams and John Bateman, with if the player agent agitating for a release for a better contract or just due to homesickness, right?
Yeah.
Interestingly, Richard Agar is managed by the same firm that just so happens to have Craig Fitzgibbon as a client.
Interesting.
It is. So we already know the power of a player agent.
Yes.
Now we could... This is where Buzz has come into this. And now that you think about it, this is actually a very good theory.
And
that this could demonstrate the power of a management firm getting two clients simultaneously signed up to the same club.
It could definitely happen, but who knows? It still could be all talk and rumours and everything. But with your theory...
It does give Buzz sort of a half standing that he could actually be proven right if the manager is talking to the firm, talking to another manager at that same firm, thinking, can we make an arrangement so my client can link up as the assistant coach to your client?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I still think the end result's still the same. I think Richard Agar will stay at Emerald Headingley as the boss, and I think Anthony Seibold will be left out in the cold. But credit to Buzz, because I think he might have been onto something with this.
He still could be onto something. We'll just have to wait and see what the final result is.
I mean, he also did report that George Burgess has got a 2-year deal at St George Illawarra, and that Will Hopper-Whitey is going to join St Helens for 2022. So we'll see how this pans out later on.
We just need to wait for definite confirmation.
This was just a sort of a update I wanted to make on that.
Yeah.
Now, moving back on, we've got the Salford Red Devils after what seems like a season of misery and pain and suffering and absolutely not going to last. They blow apart Castleford's B-team side 70 points to 18.
That's right. You heard Salford winning 70 to 18. Man, I was a happy camper. When I saw the result of 22 to 6 at halftime, I thought, okay, we've got points on the board, like we have been all season, but they would tend to go downhill in the second half. But no, we went on with it.
Honestly, what I saw was Salford kicking into overdrive against a bunch of boys. That's all I saw.
Yeah, well, like you said, Castleford were a B team. But, hey, a win's a win, and anything can happen. And Salford won. I was very, very happy
They
about
definitely
that.
can.
It's like their
Third win of the season, and have now moved away from 11th spot on the table and pushed the Huddersfield Giants down towards it.
But how long will that last for? Is the question.
Yes.
Hopefully, Salford keep going up, but we have to. Anything can happen. The comp is so tight. It's not funny.
Oh, depends where you are on the table. I mean, if you're sitting at the top, you're far removed from those on the bottom of the table.
Besides that, it's so tight.
But mid-table, it is very tight.
Yeah.
Like between Hull Kingston Rovers and the Castleford Tigers, with Leeds in the middle of them, it is very close indeed.
Yeah, but I like Patton's try. There was a 6-game call, obviously into Salford's favour, and for Patton to duck under the defence line and score a try, I was like, wow, that play, that 6-game, heavily favoured Salford.
Well, Morgan Escaray was also very busy
He
in
had
this.
an outstanding game.
Yes, 2 tries, 2 try assists, 3 tackle breaks, and an offload. And I was going to say about Christian Inu, who part of the idea of opening up, I would have said, and Salford managed to convert more goals than a penalty shootout. But I think at this point it would be a bit insulting if I did say that, so I refrained.
Yes.
From that, but
and also maybe cross-coding sports.
it's to do with rugby league and it's to do with goals. And mamma mia, am I lucky that I did not try and alienate half our potential fan base.
Yeah, true. You got away with that one there, and you worked around it very, very cleverly.
I mean, I could have said it, and I could have pissed a whole bunch of English fans off because, first major final for them. But I didn't.
No.
Although I could have opened up in Italian, and that would have really just been insulting. But thankfully, I don't know a word of Italian, so that didn't work either. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's what I could have done. But I thought, do I want to be a prick, or do I actually want to try and build a network in the UK?
Build a network in the UK would be the best option.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have said I want to build a network in the UK. I don't want to be a prick about it at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm not going to do that.
No. But bloody hell. Salford just had a brilliant game.
Well, Castleford had their eye on Wembley. This was probably known weeks in advance that they would have their eyes on Wembley.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, but to go into that off the back of 5 straight home defeats, that's not a good position for Darryl Powell's Tigers to be in.
Well, it's definitely not, but they could come into the finals the Challenge Cup final at Wembley and win. We just have to wait and see. Because they did rest a lot of their players, so...
You never know. You honestly never know with this.
Yeah.
And finally, just the 2 postponed fixtures is for the moment. Hull FC and the Leeds Centurions, and Hull Kingston Rovers and the Warrington Wolves. There's no round 15 action in the lead-up to the Challenge Cup final. There was meant to be the Hull derby this Friday, but it got postponed again.
Again, yes.
But Obviously, he played more times than Queensland and scored tries. So, I gotta be careful with things. But Queenslanders, you fools are bloody fair game.
Yeah.
You are fair game for mockery.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yes.
Except the natural order and New South Wales supremacy.
Yes.
But the rescheduled fixtures, we've got the Catalan Dragons and the Leeds Rhinos meeting again.
Yes, again. 1
week after they already played the Headingley blockbuster. But this time it'll be in the south of France, and they have turned the south of France into a literal fortress.
Yes. Look,
a graveyard for contenders everywhere. Just us, Saints and Wigan.
Well, if you go on last week's game, hopefully it could be another close matchup, but being, like you said, a fortress at the south of France, it should be a captain's victory. But we never know.
Well, there's no squad announcements for this game yet. I think they're still a little bit tight-lipped about that at this point. I'm just trying to think who was named in the Catalan side. There was Josh Drinkwater. He will be back though. If we go back to the team sheets for their round 14 clash just last week alone, they were only missing Josh Drinkwater and Michael McAlorum. Depending where they are, they could be back for Steve McNamara's side for this clash. That could be
Catalan's more deadly.
It will definitely make Catalan seem more full strength. So I'm going to say Catalan 1-12. I think Leeds will still throw a lot, but I think McAlorum, if he's back, along with Josh Drinkwater, the game management of the Dragons will just be too much for them to handle.
Yeah, I agree with you. It will be a close contest like what last week was, but I'd say Catalans will be 1-12 winner.
Another one of the reorganised fixtures, the Salford Red Devils, calling the Halliwell Jones Stadium home, hosting Wakefield Trinity.
Now, this one is a blockbuster. Salford coming up with a massive victory, and Wakefield came so close of beating St Helens. Well, to an extent. This one could be interesting.
I wouldn't say blockbuster in the same frame you would have it in, but I would have it in the frame of interesting clash, to say the least.
Yeah. It could be definitely an interesting clash. Whoever comes out on top,
Well, it'll heavily depend on how Wakefield responds, because I think they were 2 points behind Saints at 16 to 14.
Yeah.
But then 3 tries were run in by the Red V, and they took off with the game. So,
But then Salford coming off of a B team.
So, and you're going up
victory.
against a much more or strengthened and Wakefield side. So I'm not entirely convinced about the Red Devils, but confidence is a big factor in this sport.
Well, definitely it is. And if you're on Son, well, then the team just keeps on playing. If Morgan Escaray, sorry, and
You butcher the French language like your typical Aussie.
sorry.
I mean, I'm a typical Aussie too, but at least I actually listen to enunciations and then follow on.
If he has a blind of a game again alongside Andy Ackers and
Chris Atkin would probably have to stand up against Jacob Miller and Mason Lino.
If they have classic, brilliant game, and then it could be a whole different story.
I'm going to back Salford 1 to 12 here. I think they might get lucky with this one.
Yeah. Obviously, I have gone against Salford multiple times this year, but on the back of that massive win over Castleford, I'm going to back Salford 1 to 12 again.
And finally, we have got the Huddersfield Giants hosting the Wigan Warriors, again, a couple of days after going down to Wigan at the DW Stadium. Do you think anything changes for these two sides?
I'd say Wigan will win 13+.
You sound overly confident that the Warriors could produce a 13+ result.
Well, you had to look at how... Although it was... Sorry, I might change that. Sorry, I thought Wigan got absolutely belted, but they didn't.
It was only 16-12 the final score.
That was my bad. I got my games mixed up. Another one could go either way.
Well, the way Huddersfield are playing, they've only managed 3 wins all year. They have been absolute disappointing. Much was expected of Ian Watson, and he just simply has not got the best out of this Giants side, and with the personnel injuries he has had experienced.
Yeah, he has. But based on last week's game, hopefully it's another blockbuster match.
Well, I think it also depends who's in, because I think Zach Hardacre is still out indefinitely.
Yeah.
Bevan French is ruled out for the rest of the year.
Season, yeah.
And John Bateman's said to have missed up to a month, so I don't know where Bateman is at the moment. But that's 3 big guns the Wigan Warriors are missing at the moment.
But they managed to win against Huddersfield last time out, like last round.
Well, and they just have to think we just got to go and do it again. And they haven't had Jai Field since round 1 either.
So,
but you know what? He might actually be. I think they said 5 months he was due out for.
Ooh.
So it's now. I think he did that in late. Oh no, he's still probably another couple of weeks away, but he's getting close.
He's getting very, very close.
I don't know what Huddersfield can do to throw something at Wigan. If Caesar and Gaskell are back in the side, that might make a difference.
Yeah, I was just about to say that might make a difference.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to say Wigan win this 1 to 12.
Yeah. Or I'd change that. I'm still going to say Wigan, but instead of 13+, it's going to be 1 to 12. I'd backtrack on what I say about 13+.
Yeah, at least...
It should be an entertaining match.
Well, it can definitely keep Adrian Lamb's head above water and still in touch with the five clubs also in the top 6.
Yes.
Now, lucky last. The road to Wembley is almost complete, but who will lift the trophy at the end of the 80th minute? Between the Castleford Tigers and St Helens.
Well. What a game we are in for. And Castleford has upset a lot of teams. Well, especially in the finals run to before the final in the Challenge Cup. They've upset a few teams, especially the Warren. I think they played Warrington.
Yes, they played Warrington in the semi-finals.
So that was a definite upset there. For sure. But coming off, I know it's league action. They are coming off a heavy defeat, but they weren't without the star players, which will probably get rested for this match. So Castleford will definitely be in this match.
I'm not doubting you for a moment that is the case. And Castleford did get lucky that they they are still in this, despite the fact they went down 32-4 against York. If that is the right information there, yep.
Yeah.
I think that is. So the fact that they were still able to be in this come the semi-finals and then down Warrington, who were heavy favourites,
Yeah, they were
to go to
very
Wembley.
heavy.
I mean, I called the cup final Warrington St Helens.
Well, you got one right, but you didn't get the other one right. I think I agree with you as well.
Yeah, so... And this will be a different setup. I mean, Castleford will have a lot of first-team players back in the side. Right, so... But I would question match fitness if they haven't been... I mean, they would have been training, but they haven't been playing together ever in 2 weeks in the run-up to this cup final. Meanwhile, St Helens have continued going on as they have. I mean, not to the same standards maybe 2019 or 2020, but they're still the number one side in the Betfred Super League to contend with.
They are. They always have been, always will be, regardless of how good or bad the team are. Like, always still be up in the top of the best.
They will have to do this without Sione Matautier, as we did mention in the victory over Wakefield. He was suspended 2 matches, but it got downgraded to 1 on appeal.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, in his first season, he will miss out on a trip at Wembley. And the opportunity to play in front of 45,000 people in London.
Which is very, very disappointing. But he might get the opportunity again one day, hopefully. Hopefully, I say. It's going to be a nail-biter, this one. Absolutely nail-biter.
Well, this is Castleford's first appearance in a cup final since 2014, when they got run over the top by the Leeds Rhinos. And this is St Helens' second time in about 3 years that they've been at Wembley after they were eliminated in the semi-final by the Catalan Dragons in 2018, lost to Warrington in 2019, knocked out by Warrington again in the 2020 quarterfinals, and now here they are,
in Challenge
waiting
Cup.
for their first cup win since 2008.
Wow. Long time for Strange Drinks Day for Castleford, and hopefully I can come out with the victory.
To be honest, I don't know the last time Castleford won the cup. The Challenge Cup.
Oh,
I don't know. But I do know Saints... For Saints, it was 2008 was the last time they won.
No, well... Who knows?
All
So
right.
it's been a long time for Drinks of St Helens as well, so...
Alright. I'm not going to do Lance Todd medal for the man of the match because we don't know who's going to win. But then again, the losing player has won the Clive Churchill medal in the grand final, so you never know. Final prediction. Mark Hendry. Who takes out the cup final?
Castleford Tigers in a 1-12 margin.
Alright. You're feeling very confident about the underdogs. Nothing wrong with the underdogs. But...
Hey, I don't mind an underdog story either. It'll be good to see that if Castleford can upset St Helens, because it will be an upset, no doubt.
If they do manage it.
If they do manage it, and Castleford hopefully might get their season back on track after this victory. If they win.
From what I've seen, and I don't think Castleford have played St Helens yet. So this will actually be the first time they meet all year after their initial clash was forfeited by the Tigers and Saints were automatically awarded a 24-0 victory.
That is true.
So I am going to say, with the return of Matty Lees, their forward pack's pretty much full strength. Still no James Bentley, but that's besides the point. I'm going to say St Helens win their first Challenge Cup in 13 years by a 13-plus margin.
Ooh, okay. It's game on.
It is game on.
It's definitely game on.
So remember, midnight on Sunday the 18th. I think I got that right. Of course, that's all going to be in British time right there. So it's 3 o'clock on the 17th. So, I think that's about right. Yes. Midnight on the 18th.
Yep, sounds about right, yeah.
Because I think there is about a 9-hour difference between London and where we live.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's been in the Sideline Chat podcast, round 14 in Challenge Cup final debrief for the Betfred Super League. If you liked what we did here and your NRL debrief for the week, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share these podcasts around so you never miss a week of rugby league action. Hope you enjoy Origin Game 3 tonight if your team's at the Challenge Cup. Hope you enjoyed the experience of a half-capacity Wembley Stadium. And alongside Mark Henry, I am Connor Marcellus. Hope you enjoyed the action this week and hope you enjoy all yourselves. Also, until the next time. Bye for now.
Bye.